Okay. Well,
Hello.
hello.
Hi.
Hi.
We're so happy that y'all are here at the Empty Nest Quest,
Yes.
Jennifer and Melinda. And it's actually the weekend before Thanksgiving. Um,
Mhm.
this, this will come out after Thanksgiving, but we're definitely in the holiday frame of mind.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
And our topic today is things that we are planning on leaving behind in the new year. And really, you don't have to wait. I'm always I take the viewpoint of anything you say you're going to do in the new year, just do it now.
Yeah.
Like, just every day is a new day. You don't
Yeah.
have to wait for a new year. So I think that's really important for people to remember, and it has to do with this too. So, do you
Absolutely.
want to? You want to do a little quick life update?
Yes. Well, we kind of cheated because we talked earlier, so we kind of
We
caught up.
did. I know, but
But
I don't mind hearing yours
I
again.
know that's what I was going to say, but I always love to hear like what's been happening. Yeah, Johnny and I just went to Oregon. We were gone honestly for a whole week, which was not our initial plan, but we kind of just kept adding a couple days because while we were out there, we
Right,
were like, oh, we should go see this, we should go see that. And I really love the Pacific Northwest. I don't know, I just thought it was gonna we went last year as well. And I just thought I was gonna feel like, because November is really not ideal time to go
right,
visit,
right.
and, it's just drizzly.
Weather is weather
Yeah,
is very unpredictable.
but gosh, it is just so grounding and beautiful, and the people are
Yeah,
so
it's so pretty.
nice. Mhm.
Yeah,
It
it's just such
honestly
a
refutes
beautiful.
all the crazy stuff you hear in the media about, like, we were in Portland, and I don't know if you remember when, like, all the media was like, it just sounded like everything in Portland was negative, and
Right,
so many people in that city shared with us how much that hurt their city, that they did have trouble, but not any more trouble than like Atlanta or other
right,
cities. But it was so widely publicized that it really hurt their tourism. And
right.
um and it was just really, I don't know, we just met like the nicest people, and just every experience we had there
Oh,
was,
that's so good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful part of the country, it really is.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that's
What's been
awesome.
going on
Well,
with you?
just wrapping up the, school, just this time period between Thanksgiving and Christmas at school is always hectic and wrapping up standards and, that kind of thing. So, but it's all been good, and, I just can't believe it's this time of the year.
I know. When
We
you just said wrapping up standards, I think you gave me like a heart palpitation. I
You
remember
had
when I taught
um,
school and I
you
had to
had
like
some
stick it up on my
PTSD.
board. Do you
Yes,
still have to do
yes.
that? Do you have to like
Yeah,
put
oh,
the
yeah, we have
stickers?
to yep, yep. But yeah, it's crazy because this afternoon, we went out and got our tree, and we always get a real tree, and, um,
Do y'all
our
cut it
tree
down?
last No,
Okay.
we
Okay.
don't. We're not that sentimental.
I
Um,
just feel like the biggest family fight my parents ever had was trying to cut the tree down at the tree
cutting the
farm.
tree
My
down,
mom was
yeah.
like, "Can't we just go to that place in town where they're all like standing
Yes,
up in the parking lot?" I feel like y'all.
I know. Yeah. I mean, we both love real trees. I would say Mike loves them more than I do, but I love a real tree. But I tell you what, last year's was a little sketchy. I mean, we got it home, and like the first couple days, no needles on the ground, nothing. But then, oh, it was a miracle. It was a Christmas miracle that tree made it through Christmas.
I've heard so many
And
people say that about last year.
it was insane, and we were kinda nervous about this year because, we saw a news report this morning that talked about all the Christmas tree farms in North Carolina, how they were all destroyed with the hurricane, and we were
Oh,
like, "Oh gosh, we may have to get an artificial one this year." And we went, and it was like the 3rd tree that Mike got was perfect, and it was less than last year. It cost less
really?
money. Yeah,
Oh,
it was honestly, I don't know why, but I was like, "I'm not arguing about that." But yeah, it was good. So we've got it up. We'll probably do the lights tonight, but that's it. And we'll wait till after Thanksgiving and do the rest next weekend. But anyway,
Fun.
it's just kind of good to have that part done since we do
Yeah.
a real tree. It's like it's over. We've got it. It's in the stand and it's being watered. So yeah.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that's
Well,
about it really. I mean, nothing major. So it's all good. We're excited for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving to me is one of my favorite holidays because you don't have to worry about gifts
mhm.
and everybody is just a little bit more relaxed. Um, and I think the expectations are just not as what people set them up to be for Christmas.
That's a good point. That's
So
fair.
yeah, so I just, I enjoy Thanksgiving and I love all the yummy food. So
I do too. And I was kind of sharing with you earlier that that this year I'm getting tasked with making dressing. And I was looking through my sister-in-law's slides of like what she sent. She sent me pictures.
oh
It
gosh,
literally looks like in my text message thread, looks like a blog post. It is like literally pictures like buy this, buy this, buy this,
that
buy
is so
this.
funny. That is
And
so
then she
sweet.
does it step by step and took pictures. So anyway, I'm nervous, Jennifer, but I'm making it. So
Oh,
I
I
will
bet you'll do
report back.
great.
I will
Oh
report
my
back
gosh.
if it is delicious or dry. Either way,
I
at
bet
least
it will be delicious. Dressing is my favorite thing on
me
Thanksgiving.
too. And I'm not gonna be
And
I'm not gonna be
I
able to
think
do
it's
it
because
because
we don't have it the rest of the year,
mhm.
But I love my dad's dressing is the best. I always look forward to it
Your
every year.
dad makes it?
My dad makes it. It's like a work of art.
Yeah.
He spends all day and he like, will put more of the au jus on top and he
Mhm.
continues to dress it. And it's just, yeah, it's a work of art, but it's my favorite thing on Thanksgiving.
Well, I'm intimidated to make it, but I'm gonna give
You're
it a
gonna do
whirl.
great. You're
I
gonna
have
do
all these
great.
great cooks in my family, so, gotta try to hang with
Yes,
them.
yes.
Yeah, it'll be
You're
fun to
gonna do
try.
Yes, it will. Well, this week we are talking about things we are going to leave behind as we
Yes.
started a new year. And like I mentioned before, don't wait till the new year. Try to do it now. I know I'm going to. So,
Yeah.
Melinda, you want to kick us off with yours?
Yeah, because when we were talking about this, I was really thinking about what I think this time of year I start feeling just the pressure of the holidays. And I don't know why I put pressure on myself, but I think it's just because like I want the house to be warm and inviting. I want
Right,
to be decorated. I want to make sure that I remember to like host something and just have some people over so we gather during this time. And so I think I start putting like I don't even know I do it, but I feel this pressure on myself. So
oh yeah,
I was just thinking like what can we not
right,
what can we
right,
not carry in and so part of it is that just that expectation of I mean it sounds so silly when I say it out loud because in my brain I know that this is not the whole point. But if I'm being
right,
real, I do get a little like tripped out about like, oh gosh, it's already, November 24th and I haven't even gotten my tree up and I don't even know where half my
right.
decoration. I like kind of start,
Yeah.
shitting all over myself
You
and
spiral. You just start
yes,
spiraling, and then it's like, where does it end? And this is supposed to be a happy thing. It's not supposed to
yeah,
be stressful.
right.
Yeah,
And so I think what I normally do is then I try to, okay, I'm going to get myself in a happy place about it. And I think sometimes what I do with good intention is like, oh, I'll start looking online or on Pinterest and be like, oh, let me see some people's ideas and it'll get me motivated. And then actually it does the opposite. It like overwhelms me. And then I feel
right.
like, oh shoot, is that what people are doing now? Because that's not the
Yeah.
stuff
That
I
was
have.
that was not my plan. Yeah,
So this
I
year
know.
I'm not doing that. I'm not and here's the thing. I feel like if that's your thing and that brings you joy, do that, you know?
And do
Like,
it.
Anna
Yes.
loves to do that and, like, get ideas. It's part of her creativity. For me, I think that I'm
Right.
at the phase of my life where I just wanna get out what I have.
Right.
Whatever I'm feeling, I'm gonna put out, and whatever I'm not, I'm either gonna get rid of or just leave it in the closet.
Yep.
I'm just not gonna let myself get in a tizzy this year about the decorating being perfect.
Yes.
And I don't
I
think I
totally agree.
yeah. I just feel like the
Yeah, and I
expectations are too much.
oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that we can get ourselves into trouble with is by looking online because we look at what everyone else is doing. We look at, just we look at everything else, and that's not realistic. And
Right.
it can take away your joy.
Yeah.
That, we've said this on here before that comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And during the holidays, I think that applies. It's just that you get into that comparison trap, and that's not a healthy place to be. It's definitely not a happy place to be.
Yeah. And I think it's really a nice time of year to look at, like when you do start having those feelings of expectations, sometimes we call expectations, we kind of gaslight ourselves and call them traditions. And then we think
Right.
we are
Right.
married to them.
Yes.
And I remember when I was young, our family, we would do Christmas morning really, really early. And then my parents would tell my brother and I whatever we could hold in our arms, we could pack in the car and we would load down the car and we would take off on our 4-hour road trip and we would go to all the
Yes.
grandparents and cousins' houses,
Right.
in Marietta from South Georgia. And it was fun and exciting, but like we spent all of Christmas Day driving.
Yes.
And my mom and dad, just like when we got married, they were like, we don't want y'all to do that. We
Right.
don't in your head think that's a family tradition. Like we set that precedent and then they had to stop when we got older and we had sports and we couldn't, like
Right.
I went to a high school that we always went to the playoffs and football and I cheered. So that kind of let my parents off the hook because we just couldn't do it anymore. But it was such an expectation, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, we just drove everywhere. And it kind of became like, oh, this is the tradition. And my mom said, well, we're going to
Right.
have
Right.
new ones. So I just think like, let's think about that word and not use it to, corner
Right.
ourselves.
And I think as life changes, your traditions have to change with it. And that's
Yeah.
part of, make new traditions. And as our children get married, as they create their own families, they're going to create their own traditions, and that's what they're supposed to do. And that's not to say we don't start our new traditions too. I think
Mhm.
one thing that just really made crystal clear on the empty nest quest is, it's important to have our own lives. It's important to have our own, just our own things to do. And you know, that will make it a more attractive thing for our children to be with us.
Mhm.
So but it is hard. I mean, I don't want to, ignore the fact that this is a very, very difficult time for so many people.
Mhm.
Whether if this is your first holiday without your children being in the same house, or if it's a holiday that, someone has passed away this past year.
Yeah.
So it is a difficult time. And as a teacher, I see that with my students. We're so excited to get out for break, but you look in some of these kids' eyes and they're not looking forward to the next week
Mhm.
because, school was where they had, two good meals a day and had people that loved on them. And, so that part's hard to think about. And if you're in a good place in your life and you have a happy family, sometimes you don't remember that. So I think that's very important to remember, especially with our community at the Empty Nest Quest, that, a lot of our listeners, it's probably going to be a different looking kind of holiday. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. It's time to create new traditions. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm reading this book right now. I don't have it down here with me. I can't remember the author. It's Kendra something Eek, but it's called The Plan. One of my dear friends gave it to me because she hears me on the struggle with my brain fog and all the perimenopause.
Yeah.
So it's called The Plan, and the title of it kind of freaked me out, but it's actually perfect for empty nesters. Like I'll show it to you. It might be a good
Okay.
book study in the, new year. But one of the
Yeah.
things she says is as we're making plans, um, and I did kind of little air quotes, as we're making plans, she said, it's really important to acknowledge the season you're in. And she said, and I want to be more specific. So she was like, for instance, she gave the example of, you know, parenting a kid that you've given a phone to. And she was like,
Right.
okay, there's more to it than that. She was like, really define the season. You're parenting your kid, giving them a phone in the summer of their eighth grade year while you're also writing a book. She was like,
Right.
really define your season. So I think for us, if we'll just spend a moment to say, really define what this holiday season looks for us. Like if it is like, it is, we're coming up on the first Thanksgiving with our children going to their new significant others' houses. Um,
Right.
I have a new job and my husband's been traveling. Like, if you can really kind of
Right.
niche down and really describe and then say, what's most important to me right now? And
Right.
then you might find out, gosh, actually, I just want to. The most important thing to me right now is I just want to make sure I talk to both of my kids on the phone, and I just want a meal with my husband. And
Right.
then
And
all of a
that
sudden,
might be and that might be at the local restaurant. It doesn't have
right.
to be a home-cooked meal.
So
Yeah.
she really just talks about really drilling down all the way to what is really the very most important thing really present right now. And
Right.
I loved her method of getting there. Like when you say I'm an empty nester, okay, well that's really broad. Like keep narrowing it down. It's my first year being an empty nester, or I'm almost an
Right.
empty nester, or you know what I mean?
Right. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. It has been really helpful to me to help plan for family and business and all of those things. But
Definitely. That might be something
yeah,
we have to look at for the New Year book study.
oh yeah, that would be fun. Okay, one of the other things I feel like I am so guilty of is I just expect I do the whole I want it to look like Miracle on 34th Street or the Norman Rockwell, like everybody get along,
Right.
everybody come with their happiness,
Right.
everybody's gonna, and I'm like, what? Why do
Yeah.
I do that? Why do I
Or
think
in well, I think it's now more than ever because of social media. I think,
yes?
we look online and we look at everyone's pictures. Well, if you look at pictures of my family and I, yeah, we're all smiling and we're all happy. And for the most part, we are a very happy little group, but we all have our moments and there is arguing that goes on. It's not perfect, but that's not what you should put on social media, you know? I mean,
Mhm.
we've talked about this before, and to me, Facebook is my photo album. Those are the memories that pull up every year, and that I have those. What were we doing this time last year, and to see those pictures of the kids. So, I think it would be like if you went to somebody's house and pulled down a photo album. The pictures that you're going to see in there, those are the happy memories. Those are the memories
Mhm.
that you want to, tuck away. And but at the same time, if that's all you're seeing and you're not looking at it like that, you're going to have unrealistic expectations of what everyone's life is like. And you jump into that comparison trap. And and that's a very unhealthy place to be. And especially, I think it's unhealthy for all of us, but women especially, because we want to make sure that everything looks right and everybody is happy, and we feel like that is our responsibility. We really carry that weight on our shoulders. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's not our responsibility. Everyone,
Right.
especially if we have adult children, they're responsible for their own happiness. And that's just, it's a hard place to come from.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think
but
yeah, and I think if we
one
can just
thing
show up
that
without go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say that part of that, one thing that I'm going to really try to give up, um, is that feeling of guilt. And this kind of ties into what we were just talking about. Because if Christmas morning doesn't look exactly the way, we envisioned it to look, we can really have that guilt going on. And I just feel like we need to give ourselves a break. Things are not going to be perfect, and just do the best you can. I think it's a really fun time to get the kids involved. They're old enough now, they're adults, and ask them, what new tradition do you want to start this year? What do you see Christmas Day looking like? And get their
That they
buy-in.
can and that they can bring that they do,
Yes,
instead of it being like, "Mom, we would love for you to start adding." I'm like, "No, no, no, mom doesn't have any request windows
right.
open. It's gotta be something you're willing to bring to the table yourself."
Yes. Yes. And I think if they take some of that responsibility, some of the guilt comes off of our shoulders.
Well, I know
Makes it
one
a
of my friends, a fun thing that she did was, their kids had, the Elf on the Shelf thing, and
right,
she
right.
just was like, could not wait to retire that duty as a mom. She was like, "I'm so over the flippin' elf." And
Oh
so,
my gosh.
um, but they were those like Pinterest parents. Like their elf was like made our elf. I was like, my kids can't come see you during Christmas because your elf is too extra. But it was so funny. And so what they did is like the minute their kids were old enough and they were kind of getting like, oh, we're so disappointed. I thought this was such a great idea. They were like, do y'all want the elf to stick around? And the girls were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they were like, okay, y'all do the elf.
Right.
And they had the best time, and so now their young adult children still come back to their house and, like,
Yes.
do the elf, and it's hilarious, and so that's, like, how to me, you can, like, keep a tradition and put a funny spin on it and not be like,
Right.
"Oh, we're so sad, y'all are big and we can't do this anymore." Like, no, you can do it funny, like, you can even do things long distance, right?
Right.
Like
Just do it different. It's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay. Things are
so
not always gonna stay the same. And I think
yeah,
if we have those unrealistic expectations in our mind, that's where a lot of people get into a depression, and they just really get down and out, and it's not realistic. Your kids are growing up and they're gonna make their own traditions, and it's time for us to make our own traditions too. And that might look totally different than what it did when the kids were little, and that's okay.
yeah,
And it's just to realize everybody's different too,
mhm,
so I think that's important. But yeah, I think for me, just the guilt, and not only from, what Christmas looks like or anything like that, but just guilt in general. I put so much pressure on myself, and, with the kids, with the business, anything. And I've always been a very much a self-reflection kind of person, which I think is good. I think, to self-reflect and think, what was my role in this? How can I make things better? But sometimes I overdo it, and I really lay blame on myself for things that shouldn't be there. And so I'm going to work on that. And
yeah.
Mel Robbins said, and it's just the let them, how she says,
Yes,
whatever somebody says, let them. If somebody doesn't invite you to a party, let them. I mean, it's just like anything, just let them. It's
yeah,
okay. It's okay. You're still who you are, and you've got to let other people go through that process. And a lot of times I put too much self reflection on myself. I'm like, what could I have done differently? And so oftentimes I couldn't have done anything differently.
right,
That person is the way they are because of whatever they've been through in their life. It's not because of me. And
right.
so I think if we kind of take that weight off of our shoulders of unnecessary guilt, I'm going to work on that. So
Mhm.
yeah, but these were great. I'm so glad we talked about
Here,
this.
these
So
are
um,
it'll be fun
yes,
just to I feel like it's nice just to have conversations like this to just, you know, put our little perspectacles on and make yourself see like a different perspective as you're going into a time that, like you said, can have a lot of expectations that induce guilt and all the things. So, yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, we want
Yay.
to
This
hear
was
what y'all,
great.
yeah, we want to hear what our listeners, we want to hear what y'all are doing differently, what you're ditching and not taking with you in to the holiday season, into the new year. And so, message us, reach out to us, and let us know what you're doing.
Yes,
And
and make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook,
yeah,
Instagram, and, join our Facebook page. Got a
yeah,
great little community starting. So,
yeah.
y'all
All
go out and have a
right.
great week.
Yes. Happy holidays.
Yes.